And that day that I realized that, I put my track shoes on, even though people see heels every day now, and my track shoes are still on. I'm never taking them off.
Right.
And I ran as far as I could. I ran into 6 degrees, 3 doctorates, a master's degree, a house at 19, my first home, a daycare at 19, 3 retail stores on Merrill's.
Well, damn, you was a professional student.
But I was a professional student for a long time.
Let's talk about Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, 43 years old influencer who started to blow up when she started landing spots on major podcasts like Club Shay Shay with Shannon Sharp, The Breakfast Club, Joe Budden, all of them. She was dropping so-called gems, talking about relationships, healing, and self-improvement. Black women were eating it up. She built a whole brand as a go-to psychology expert and a female who has 3 doctorates. Her name was everywhere. Her clips were going viral, and she was the new face of giving advice to women all across social media.
I'm a gallon, and you're a pint. So what happens within pints is, it's not that I'm too much, it's that when you pour everything you have into me, your capacity isn't there. So I still have all of this that I have to either self-soothe or overcompensate with. And if I pour all of what I have into you, system overload. So it's not that I'm too much, it's you can't handle. Let's not gaslight. You're not too much. You're a gallon. Guess what? Before I take, I'll wait. Because I'll get that and end up a divorcee anyways. Or I'll get that, it'll be seasonal, because that can't sustain me. So why are we wasting our time on the pints? And I say this with all humility, but reality. I'm gorgeous. I have a nice body. I'm educated. Hold on, I'm in demand. Men want me. Women want me. I can walk in any room. I dominate. I'm vertical in who I am. I ain't got daddy issues. I had a father in my life. I'm book and street smart. So what I'm saying is I understand my value. If I leave you, it ain't hard to get something at least at your level or better. And I'm not saying that is an arrogance that people should bring into. I think for me, being a successful woman, the biggest thing has been, what if you make more than him? Are you okay with that? Because there was a time where I wasn't okay with it. And now I've gotten to a place where I do so well, that I'm saying, well, if he does make a little less, but he can't, but he can provide.
Driver and the janitor a shot.
If the janitor owns a janitorial company.
Oh, see, now he got to own the whole damn company.
But this
he
is the
can't
thing.
be a good
Let me
janitor.
say this. It doesn't matter how much more I make than him. If he can provide for us and provide a quality of life for us,
but
I don't care.
You the one that's doing that.
For myself. When you say daddy's home, that means more than just your home and your presence.
So now you just narrowed your circle so much smaller. Because now you got to have a high functioning, high value.
Yes. Like, and let me tell you something though.
Rich ass man.
Or at least.
Can he be a younger man?
He may have to, because I want a man with no kids, because I want my own family.
You want a man with no kids?
So go down,
Nick. This nigga ain't out there. You looking for Jesus.
Yes.
And he still ain't came back.
A high functioning woman is a woman who wants you. She doesn't need you. And let me clear that up. When I say she doesn't need you, it doesn't mean she's independent. That means she is interdependent. I only not need you because my pain doesn't need your pain. My dysfunction doesn't need your dysfunction to feed it for us to be in this relationship, meaning I don't need a trauma bond with you, okay? She wants you because she wants the healed part of you, but has the capacity, because we're all human, we ain't perfect, to facilitate and deal with the unhealed part of you that's going to show up in the relationship at some point. And hers is going to show up too. Mine is going to show up too. So I've been in private practice as a doctor of psychology for 17 years. And I'm going to say this. I've never seen a womanizer not be a womanizer. And to Big Boy and to you, sis, if you don't fix what's in you, you can let go of that woman who's homeless. You will continue to attract the same spirit in a different vessel.
But not everybody was buying it. One person who's been consistent from the beginning is Corey Holcomb. Corey Holcomb was calling her out a year ago, saying she had no real qualifications, no proof of her degrees, nothing to back up the doctor title. She was rocking. He kept saying she wasn't qualified to be given the kind of advice she was giving, especially to black women. While most people were riding with her, Corey Holcomb on his platform stayed on her neck about the credentials.
And everything. Show us you're a doctor and how you became a doctor and how you practice being a doctor. You're just doing internet talk like everybody else, except you wanted to put doctor on your name. Prove to me you're a doctor so I can eat crow and apologize. But don't come with that little nonsense online shit. That ain't gonna work on me. I know. I'm the world's greatest. I'm the world's greatest. I ain't even trying to brag, but I'm just saying, old girl flat out a hustler. I watch her when she word things.
No.
A lot of people don't know how to talk to her. I'll be like, are you a licensed doctor? I want to see you slither out of that. You're not a registered doctor. Everybody looked it up. A lot of Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, the man Offset, he got in touch with her for some professional help.
Offset came in my DMs.
To ask for a therapy session. Okay.
And that's why I want to give him his.
Give it up to Offset, looking for help.
Yes.
I mean, we from the streets. We know what it is. But I'm saying he got with the help for some professional help. What'd she do? Put him out there. No real doctor would do that.
Offset was in my DM.
Right.
I never followed through. We never did a session. He was never my client.
No real doctor would put the patients or somebody potentially being a patient out there because it don't look good on their resume.
It was not a breach of confidentiality, first of all, because he was not and is not my client.
He got it to professionally. That is an opportunity. Look at that face. This looks like them emojis on the iPhone. If you get that, it's over. Better keep that little shape and them little fake hair pieces in, because I know you got that Emmett Smith forehead.
Now, fast forward to 2026, everything flipped. Black women who used to defend her heavy are now the ones calling her out the loudest. They were cool with her when she was pandering to women, giving them the "you're a queen, heal yourself, you don't need a man."
Career happened early. I bought my first house at 19. I mean, what am I gonna do with a young man, a young boy in my mind? Yeah. But as I got older, here I go talking to God. God said, okay, what if I told you your husband's younger? I was like, oh my God, come on, God. You always try to switch up the game. I thought we was just running an easy route. You want me to go up 5 and in 10?
I see that through an audible.
Right. And so I said, okay. And he goes, okay, and you saying you want a man with no kids. I agree with you. He said, that's with them, I will. I said, okay. He said, but he's gonna be younger. I said, what does that mean?
He said, how young?
He said, you don't have patience. I said, oh, damn. He said, you're a pivot. Quick. I said, oh, my God. And I said, how young? But what he did was in the 6 years is literally they've been all younger men. And when I tell you the adjustment, the first time I dated a younger guy, it was challenging for me because I found him less valuable in so many ways because I'm like, the wisdom's not there, the experience. And then my patience, I used to say, listen. If you want me to stay, meaning like if we're at his house having a good time, if you want me to stay, you're going to have to relax, meaning emotionally, right? Like, no, seriously. But I would say as a grown woman.
You said relax.
Meaning like you're going to have to get some control over your emotions in the sense of feeling a certain way for me or not being able to engage in a conversation without being inflamed.
Okay.
Right? Because, when you're young, you don't have the gauge. You're just emotional and you're reactive and you're just in love or I'm leaving. But if you want me here, I want to be here. But we have to have a certain environment. So there goes that patience. That was 6 years ago. Now come current day, even the guys I date now, I'm not exclusive. I'm still single, but one of the guys I date happens to be younger. And I have a better understanding of the patient. So when certain things happen, I go back into my conversation with self and God and I go, oh, okay, that's the patience part. And God goes, that's it, baby. That's it. I say, oh, okay, I had to maybe act. But to his defense, he is actually, knock on wood, thus far has been very mature in a lot of ways. But I still make sure I remind myself, okay, this guy is still younger and I have to have that patience. And I say, would I rather have patience with a younger man or would I want to deal with my spirit constantly uneasy because I'm going against my values because this man is amazing, but he has kids. And so I can't fully unpack and connect with him because the barrier between us is these kids. I said, no barrier because I'll unpack fully with this man and I'll go all the way in with this man to the point where we're having kids in a family. That's good. So for me, I'm clear on what I want, and my wide road, which is destruction, says the Bible, is now become a narrow road, which is happiness. And for me, when you get narrow, even if what you're asking for hasn't manifested yet, you're still very happy because you're clear. Clarity is something that gives you peace and what I call God's peace and happiness.
Good. And what I love about it is that what you said is you live in a place of realism. You said, because I heard you say this in the interview, and because I know that my desire is a man with kids, now I have to date younger, but I have to also deal with the maturation phase of a younger man. Yeah. And so that's why I like it when people are intuitive enough to say, because some people are like, I want a man that don't have kids, and it's like, okay, but you didn't adjust, you didn't know how to pivot, so you're in your mid 40s or whatever, and you're dating guys around that thing, and then now he's like, well, I want kids.
Oftentimes, black women are the ones that are getting served the 1-course meal while everybody else gets served the 6-course meal. We have the right to ask for what we want and what we value and what we deserve like every other woman. There is just a big group of black men who really don't like black women. That is a psychological issue. That is a mental health illness, seriously. And that is a direct reflection of self-hate. And well, let me say this. For y'all who got a problem with us and for y'all who seem to hate us, we don't want you anyway. So please stay way over there, wherever they are. They could be white, Latina, Catina, Asian, yellow, or green. We don't want you if you hate us. We want the men who have done the work, who have gotten past their issues, who have self-love, who don't have commitment issues. We want those because we're wives, and we deserve 8-course meals. We deserve roses and all of that.
But the moment she started telling the truth that actually benefits black men, talking about accountability, modern behavior, and what high-value men really want, they turned on her real quick.
So you got on this internet and called every black and brown woman slow because they're pulling your card. You came to the internet and told us you was qualified to give out all this relationship advice we didn't ask you for. That's what happens when you become male-centered. They fall right after every single time. Nobody had no issue with you when you made decent content, and then all them bookings and all that stuff start going to your head. Then your content switched to you, beating down on women. And all women of all races are calling you out, but you only call black and brown women slow. What's wrong with you? Ain't nobody slow. You put us in your business when you decided to come to the internet. Hey, I'm doctor this, I be getting all these degrees, and nobody's seen them. Don't you ever call our women slow because they caught you in your lie. Because if you were slick enough, nobody would ever caught you. Next case. I know I'm not the only one. I don't care for Cheyenne Bryant's content because she started off being primarily for women. Then when she siphoned all the female support, she throwing women up under the bus to create that male-centered content because she feels that's where the money is. And I see right through it. When she was single and outside and out in the streets and all that, she loved women. She was, oh yes, liberating women. And now that she's older and, woe out, toe up, now she want a man. She feel like she have to switch all of her content to throwing women up under the bus. When she said that she don't agree with 90 to 100% of the women she meet, that's the same women you've been surrounding yourself with from day one. You don't like the very same women who come from the flock you used to flock around with. Everybody don't have that switch over. If you came in as a 304, a lot of women don't come out of that, and that is okay. You don't like the people you're around because all y'all are just alike. And you want to get on camera and say something else different. Girl, we see right through that. We see right through that. And I would think at your age, you would be a little bit more steady. But anyway, you can't really expect too much from a 304 anyway. You know what I'm saying? She wants to be a housewife. She wants to have a man take care of her. Miles are a real thing. And the way you was just dressed at the Jeezy concert, baby, you might get lucky with a man like Boosie.
The only reason why we know Cheyenne Bryant is because men are easy. Men are so easy. All you have to do is look good, smell good, wear a nice flowy dress, have the aesthetic that they find attractive for you to completely bamboozle them. And I'm not knocking her hustle, but I clocked this from the very first interview I saw of hers. She speaks to men in a way that a midnight ballerina would. And I'm not talking about the pole dancer. I'm talking about the girl who has the high rolling clients who are probably married, make a lot of money, but their wives won't talk to them. So they got to go to the club and talk to a stripper. If you know, you know. She uses that same type of hustle, seducing, if you will. And it's a very similar seducing spirit that mega church leaders have. It's a cadence. It's a swag. That's how I know that it's not legit. It is the hustle. It's the hustle. You gotta get to the man's heart, if you will. Speak to them in a way that they've never been spoken to by a woman. If you look back at all of her major podcast interviews, that's who she is. She calls it therapy. She doesn't have proof of a doctorate, but she can put doctor in front of her name because she is very good at what she does. Seducing men because they are easy.
And I'm going to just say this. I know Dr. Bryant wasn't a real doctor when she wore that outfit to the Jeezy concert. Y'all should have clocked it then. Because no professional of any sort would have gone out there in that Lover's Lane onesie like that.
Suddenly, all the questions about her PhD, her degrees, and her lack of proof are a problem. The same women who are riding with her now are dragging her for the exact same stuff that Corey Holcomb was saying a year ago. Black men was saying a year ago.
It is the first time I've heard somebody, though, call themselves a doctor with no MD or any doctorate at all.
And allowing then the platform to be wide open for you to counsel people or to help solve the problems of individuals. To me, that's where the danger is. And that's what's a little bit scary.
It's scary. It appears that she is intentionally operating in a gray area. And I don't know why anybody would want to intentionally operate in a gray area.
Especially if you're trying to help people, if you're trying to assist, if you're trying to problem solve in a world where mental health is becoming more and more challenging for all of us. I mean, every other day there's a news story with someone that has a mental health problem that we are trying to, understand. And then we go, well, why didn't they get help? What you're saying is you wouldn't want that help to be Dr. Bryant if she doesn't have the credentials behind her name.
I don't want anybody that's not credentialed doing anything for me.
I understand.
Yeah.
I mean, and
healthcare otherwise.
Yes. So, I've been blessed to be able to have an honorary doctorate, and I don't think I could.
I can call you Dr. Ronita.
Well, you could.
Yeah. You're going to brand yourself
but I don't think I would have a show that's on mental health that I would be assisting certain individuals who had certain needs. To me, that would not be permissible. That wouldn't be allowed. So,
as a result of her saying that, and the fact that she would go out and publicly say this means that she really just didn't know that there was a true issue here. But I've heard that she now has several complaints against her.
There are several people complaining, and I think rightfully so.
Hopefully so. Anyway, get credentialed.
You guys, if you're going to call yourself a doctor on social media, you need to be willing to show your credentials. It is not fair to viewers and to patients that you may take care of to go by Dr. So-and-so and get them to trust you based on your title. And then when they say, oh, well, do you have a degree to back up that title? Can you give us a little bit of proof? Say it's none of your business. Well, you made it everyone's business when you got on social media and called yourself Dr. So-and-so. It's fine to use the title if you actually have a doctorate. And it's not that hard to tell people what kind of doctorate you have, where you got your degree, and reassure them that you are qualified to say whatever you're speaking on. So if you call yourself doctor, just show the credentials. So for anyone who sees my page, I'm Dr. Brianna Johnson. I have a medical doctorate. I completed residency in anesthesiology, and I'm a board certified anesthesiologist. There will be no confusion on my...
The bigger question is, were they practicing a licensed profession without a license? A lot of people online right now are asking the same questions. Can someone get in actual legal trouble for lying about being a doctor? And after Dr. Cheyenne Bryant's interview on The Breakfast Club, there's a lot of people confused. Let's break this down clearly because there is a legal difference between claiming you have a doctorate and actually practicing psychology. And I know what you're thinking, but those are not automatically the same thing. Let's start off with the doctorate. If someone falsely claims they earned a PhD or a doctorate that they never received, that can absolutely become a legal issue, especially if you're using those credentials to build a business, gain public trust, sell services, or make money. And yes, that can absolutely fall under fraud or misrepresentation. Legally, the bigger issue isn't just did they say they were a doctor? The bigger question is, were they practicing a licensed profession without a license? Because we all know professions like psychology are governed by the state. For example, I'm in California, and in California, a licensed psychologist is a protected title, meaning you cannot represent yourself as someone who can diagnose or clinically treat mental health disorders. You have to have the proper license to do so. And that's where the law jumps in and gets really serious. Now, if I was the investigator on this case, there are a few things that I would try to prove. First, were there false claims made about licenses, degrees, or qualifications? Second, did the person making those claims knowingly make those claims? And third, did people rely on those claims? Meaning, did clients pay for certain services thinking this person has certain credentials? Did anyone seek treatment or professional guidance based on those representations? Now, I see a lot of people talking about the blurred line of being a life coach, a motivational speaker, or a licensed psychologist. Because if we're speaking legally, those are not the same thing. Someone can legally be a life coach, a motivational speaker without being licensed. You can just wake up and say, I'm a life coach. Fuck it. I've been a paralegal for 14 years. I'm a life coach. Now, when someone crosses that line and starts diagnosing mental health conditions, providing clinical treatment, or presenting themselves as licensed when they are not, I just thought it'd be important for people to understand the legal distinction here. Because saying you have a doctorate and illegally practicing psychology are two different things. Those are actually two different.
After all the backlash, after Black women started calling her out, here's what Dr. Cheyenne had to say. She sits down in an interview and instead of showing any proof, any diploma, any transcript, any license, she doubles down hard. She says, I've earned the title, I have multiple degrees, and I'm not going to prove anything to anybody.
I've earned the title, I have multiple degrees, and I'm not going to prove anything to anybody. My obedience is to God, not to people. And so as long as I'm in His will and I'm serving and I'm doing His, His word, my sheep will know my voice. Even the sheep in wolf clothing. That is not my battle.
But
that's
with the questions that are out there, why not provide the proof of your degree? Why not?
Well, a couple of things, right? I have multiple degrees. And my thing is that my proof isn't something that I have to prove to individuals. My proof is already within my credentials, my degrees, and also more than just my titles, it's in how effective I've been. All of my sessions have been live for the most part. My sessions with Nick Cannon, Cam Newton, Shannon Sharp, B. Simone, they have all been for the world to see, right? So no one knew who Dr. Bryant was prior to seeing all of my sessions that were live. And they deemed it, as well as I did before they did it, they can't validate me, I validated myself. They deemed it as my work being effective. I am effective at what I do. I'm educated and I'm successful in my lane, and I'll land on this. I created my own lane. And so a lot of times, Marissa, when people see that you created something that maybe they couldn't, admiration turns into envy. And you got to be okay. And you got to be okay with that in that space. As an attack,
but I think, and I've gotten this question from many viewers, and I owe it to them in service to them.
Absolutely.
Why not drop doctor from your name if you cannot bring forth that doctoral degree?
So I've already covered this, right? And we're here obviously to talk about my new book. So I've earned the title. I have multiple degrees, and I'm not going to prove anything to anybody. And we're going to leave it just as that. Yeah.
Dr. Cheyenne Bryant.
Baby, Dr. Cheyenne Bryant.
And that's where, and you're standing by that.
Standing by it. Yeah, because I earned it. Absolutely.
She keeps talking about how effective she is, how she's worked with big names, how her sessions are live. Everything except actually showing the paperwork people are asking for. No proof, just more talk about being a leader and how not everybody's going to like you when you're in that position. How she can't be able to get her credentials. It's one thing after another thing except for the proof.
In the comments with somebody if they got something to say about what I said, because I said what I said. But and I see celebrities. And I double down on it. I see celebrities and even public figures as yourself who have to deal with people having so much access to you because of social media, but also sort of dogpiling on.
Yep.
And, I wanted to be sure again that this conversation was not that, and that we really focused on the conversation that matters.
Yeah.
And, even so, people are like, is she a doctor or is she not a doctor? Does she have the credentials or is it da-da-da-da? And I did wonder how you have ever felt outside of today, this week, how you have ever felt when you have put in the work to get the academics, get the grades, get the degrees, have the lived experience, have the work professional experience, and then to have people try to discredit that or discredit you.
100%.
Just as a Black woman, what is that internal emotional process?
We gonna be real about what you're talking about. Not just as a Black woman, but as a Black woman who has stood on a mountaintop for our Black community, who the Black women audience has made me their spokesperson. I never made myself that. They loved when I was ripping the Black dudes apart in their perspective. They loved when I was checking them and making sure that I was standing on a mountaintop speaking for all of us. But the moment they get to come out the bush they were already hiding in and go, oh, loophole to tear sis down. Now, let me disclaimer, not all, because there's a small group of Black women I'm talking about, and that's that group who is now portraying as, we hate her, we dislike her, she's doing something negative. The bigger group of Black people and women are flooding my DMs, are flooding my timeline, are saying, Doc, we love you, gas it, foot, Dr. Bryant. So, but to that group that you're referring to, it's not just me being a Black woman, but it's also me being a Black woman experiencing it from my own Black women and Black community. That is where it's like, oh, hold on. I got to make sure that I remember my obedience is to God, not to y'all. Because if I make my obedience to you, then I will personalize the fact that you are attempting to crucify me like the church did Jesus when Jesus just served the church. And I have to make sure that I remember that there are a bigger group of women and men, Black and non-Black, mostly Black, I love my Black folks, who support me, who love me, who I do this for, that I cannot allow that noise to even slightly insert and take away from what these folks over here deserve, which is my village, my doc squad, and so forth. And even the folks, again, these wolves over here in their sheep clothing, because they was in the bushes waiting. Don't nobody come out like this unless you was in the bushes waiting, right?
It seems like
but
it.
That's okay,
it seems
because
like it.
If any noise brings them to my page, my website, to anything that makes them curious, that allows them to grab something that helps them, then guess what? I did my job. My job is not to appease, is not to create any narrative that would help their narrative negate. No, I want them to create all the narratives they want. I want them to double down, do it some more, and keep it going. Because I have never experienced this much free marketing in my life.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I don't have the need to be liked. Because leadership isn't, I'm manipulating you to like me so I can lead you. That's manipulation. That's narcissism.
Mm-hmm.
Leadership is, I'm going to show you my results. And if you feel like my results are something that's conducive to where you want to be, you are more than welcome to join.
Mm-hmm.
And leadership is also, the folks that I'm leading are not just followers.
Mm-hmm.
These folks are leaders as well.
Mm-hmm.
They're intelligent, they're genius. There's times where they do go on the forefront and they lead my pack. So this is not an arrogance of I'm leading, look at me. It's all of us are leading in some capacity. A real leader also knows how to fall back and follow when necessary.
Mm-hmm.
So again, all of those things came because of my impact of who I am and the lives that have been positively changed. Not because I have it. There's a lot of people with titles. Folks are getting honorary doctorates fucking like candy at a candy store now.
Yes, they sure
which
are.
I am against. I only received mine because I have an academic doctorate that I said, hey, no problem. I will go into an honorary doctorate. I had a doctor title before I ever had honorary doctorate.
The conversation about your doctorate because people can't find your dissertation online. How are you responding to that in this new era of your life?
I'm going to clear it up once on here. I'm not doing it again. And I'm clearing it up for my doc squad, for my fan base, for my audience who deserve to hear me address it. For the folks who have already made up their mind to not like me or not understand me, listen, I don't give a fuck what your narrative is. I would like for you to recreate it, double down on it, and run that shit. because I don't give a fuck about it. Now, to my doc squad, my fan base, my folks, my village, it's very simple. I went to a school, Argosy University, completed an entire program. I went back online to get my official transcripts because I was applying to a law school many years ago to be a professor there. And I had to provide my transcripts, right, to get hired. And I went to contact the school and say, hey, I need my official transcripts. I need my entire thing. And there was no school. I was like, okay, I'm confused. I Google. It says this school has been shut down. I said, oh, well, they got to have records. I mean, they were accredited when I attended the school. They were accredited when I finished the program. I go and look, there is a third party that has the records. Why I contact the third party, that third party only holds records for 2 years. I was past my 2 years. So that means that I had no access to records. And then I contacted, financial aid. You can't make up financial aid. It shows that I paid for a doctoral program alongside my master's program and my undergrad program. And they said, we can fully refund you your money under one circumstance. We give you your money back. You don't get credit for not a class, a course, a program you took in this university, at this institute. So do you want us to refund you? Or do you want us not? I said no, because I didn't want to risk the chance of them saying, well, we're going to give you back your money, and it wipes out your entire program. Luckily, I had, I do this with all of the schools. I had downloaded from the actual student portal my transcripts at that time, and I was able to get just about all of my transcripts, including up to like dissertation. But everything else, there's just no holding take for any of our records, which I think is completely effed up. Just in general.
They are going to kill you online this week. They're going to say she has no records. They just want to hate you regardless. But
no, that's fine. And it's not even that there's no records that I don't. The school had a third party that carried the records only for a limit of 2 years. So it's not me. It's any student that attended Argosy. But again, it doesn't, how can I say it? It doesn't affect me, because if I chose to go get a license as an LMFT, I have my master's in marriage and child therapist. I have my hours. I can just take that and say, hey, let me submit these for licensure, and I want to go sit for my exam, and all I have to do is study. I don't need a doctorate in counseling psychology to go get licensed as a therapist. That's what we're all.
Here's the part that should make everybody pay attention. Black men have been calling out Dr. Cheyenne from the beginning. Corey Holcomb has been calling out Dr. Cheyenne from the beginning. But they always love to underestimate what black men know and a black man's knowledge when things are not usually on their side, when it's appealing to women until it's not. That's when they now want to peel out the truth. Women are only for truth when it benefits them, not for truth when it's in its totality. And let's be honest, these are not women. These are females with a typical failed mentality. They only love the message when it strokes their ego. That's the pattern. They laugh at black men, call black men bitter, say they're just hating until the very same thing affects them. Then all of a sudden they want to do the research and hold her accountable.
The fact that black women won't drop the subject of Cheyenne Bryant and her questionable degrees goes to show that the podcast bros rhetoric that black women do not hold other black women accountable is a black ass lie.
Black females were riding on her cocktail heavy because she was telling them exactly what they wanted to hear. Truth is truth in its totality, not just when it feels good. This whole Dr. Cheyenne situation just proved exactly that. When females only want to accept the truth when it benefits them.